Second Peter 1 and 3 tells us that God has given us everything that we need for life and godliness through our knowledge of Him. I have everything.
Good evening to you. Good evening. Good evening. Come on in. Good evening. Good evening. Tag, share, invite a friend, a family member. And I'm so glad that you can join on this evening for Wisdom Wednesday. I promise you, I will not be before you long. There's a few nuggets I want to share with you, but I'm so thankful that you've joined me on this evening. And for those of you who actually join or watch the replays every week, I am humble. I'm gonna wait a little bit longer, but I do thank you for tuning in for these Wisdom Wednesdays. Again, welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. Welcome, 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 welcome. Come on in, come on in, come on in. It's been a long day, but I enjoy these moments. The moments that I get to come before you and just share a little bit, a few nuggets with you. As I said, I will not be before you long. Turn this off. I won't be before you long. Um, I am, for those of you that may be new to Wisdom Wednesdays, or this is your first time tuning in, I am Dr. Perkins, Dr. P, Coach L, whatever you may want to title it as. I am a certified coach and a certified mentor, so I do coaching as well. Wisdom Wednesdays, for those of you that are new, is just a segment that I do weekly to come and provide some encouraging words, some words of motivation, some words that will help bring transformation in your life, words that will encourage you to get to your next, to encourage you to want to change some things. And although sometimes we want to think that we're perfect, and we want to think that we don't err, or we want to think sometimes that we may not mess up, or whatever the case may be, that is not a fact. That is fiction. And there are things that we have to change within ourselves in order for us to move forward. And it's a lot of critical thinking that we have to do when it comes to ourselves, but we have to be honest enough to say that I have to change in this area, or I need to change in this area in order for me to move to my next. So Wisdom Wednesdays, just like I said, are basically small segments to bring to you words of encouragement, words that will help bring healing, words that will help bring deliverance, sometimes words that may be a aha moment, because sometimes we need those moments like aha, okay, so that's what it is, and that is fine. Growth happens in a lot of different ways. Growth is not always going to be done by individuals that you may know. You may not always receive individuals that you may know. However, in order for us to grow, we have to own what areas that we need to grow in. So tonight, I'm not even here to talk about growth. I'm giving you, hopefully tonight, I will give you words of comfort, words that would help move you to your next, words that assist you in forgiving yourself. Oftentimes, we can do all these things for other individuals, but we are very hard on our own self. And so I hope that this evening, tonight, some of the things that I may share with you, that you will look deep down and that you will reflect and give yourself grace. That's what I want to talk about on tonight. Give yourself grace. Like I said, I won't be before you long. It's been heavily on my heart when I'm talking to or seeing things on social media about the hearts of people, when people are reaching out, when I'm coaching, when I'm just giving them words of encouragement to other people behind closed doors. And I realized at one point in time I was in the space where I didn't give myself grace, where I did not forgive myself for decisions that I had made that was not so good for myself, for actions that I may have engaged in that may not have been good, by dealing with individuals in my personal or dealing with individuals as far as friendships that probably meant me no good when I was younger, and even growing up in my 20s and 30s, 20s and 30s, because I'm still young now. I'm not. I know it. I got some age on me, but listen, don't get it twisted now. But realizing that it took me some time, even when I thought about some of the things, like I said, the decisions that I made, some of the errors that I've sinned in, some of the things that I've done, some of the things that I let hold of me in my heart for a long time, or in my mind. And then I had to realize, listen, and that's what I've come to tell you on this evening. Give yourself some grace. The same way that it's so easily for you to maybe forgive others, the same way that you allow the same individual people to may hurt you or do you wrong or be in the space for a long time before you leave an area, before you cut off a situation, before you do, well, you do the things in the church, and you go through the church hurt, and you continue to go and you give them grace, and you forgive them for errors, or you forgive your baby's father, or your baby's mom, or your mother, or your father, or whoever. But you have a hard time giving yourself grace, forgiving yourself for things that you've done to yourself. Give yourself some grace. It's okay. We all have made mistakes. There's some things that you won't be able to take back. However, it's okay. Utilize it as a lesson, not a death sentence to your life. Give yourself some grace to move on. Give yourself some grace to understand that you are worthy, and you don't have to and didn't have to stay in that situation as long as you did. But guess what? You got out. Give yourself some grace that you might not be or have been the perfect parent in the past, and may have done some things wrong, and may have said some things you might would have supposed to have said when it comes to your children. But age and knowledge and wisdom and understanding help you to realize, listen, yeah, it was wrong. Yeah, I need to ask my child to forgive me. I've learned that lesson, because what I said and how I acted in the ways that I did were not right. But give yourself some grace not to beat yourself down to enable your child when they're engaged in wrongdoings. Don't beat yourself down when they're making decisions that they know they of age that they should not do. Yes, what we model in our environment, yes, children can sometimes pick up this, that, and the other. But how long will you make that an excuse? How long will you make an excuse because your child may be wayward and going here, there, and the other, that it's your fault? How long will you make an excuse? Yeah, you stayed in that abusive relationship and your child saw it, whether if it was physical abuse, whether it was emotional abuse, whether it was mental abuse, and you are enabling your child because they feel they're making you seem like making you feel guilty and like you're obligated and you still owe them something or have a sense of entitlement. The devil is a lie. You don't owe your children nothing, your child nothing but to love them, but to teach them now that you know better, but to ask your child for forgiveness and to teach them the right things. The Bible says, train up your child in the way that they shall go, and when they get older, they shall not depart. Stop holding yourself guilty of some of the things that you didn't even know or didn't even know how to parent or how or which way to go. You were promiscuous because you was molested, you was raped, you was abused, this, that, and the other. Yeah, they may have said that you were a whore and you was in this, but it was a root to that thing. But now that you know better, you want to do better, but your past is holding on to you. Give yourself some grace. Whether if it's to a male or a female, because males are abused too. Males go through molestation. Males have things that they go through. But let me tell you something. Forgive yourself. There may be a reason why your sexuality is a little bit different and why that you desire the same sex as yourself. There may be a reason. I'm not here to condemn. That is not my job. But what I'm here to tell you is to give yourself some grace and forgive you. Nobody knows your story. Nobody knows what you've been through. Nobody knows what you're going through. But give yourself some grace. It's time out to keep holding yourself in bondage by what you did or what you're doing or what they gonna say, because if they know this, that, and the other, give yourself some grace. I'm so thankful that God gives grace to those that he chooses. I'm so thankful that his grace and his mercy is the reason why I am here on today, on this evening. Because guess what? I gave myself some grace. I forgave myself of my past. I owned what was done, learned the lesson, and changed my mindset so that I can grow. I didn't just keep sitting in a prison and holding myself in a prison while I'm encouraging everybody else how to do and what to do and coaching them. But yet I don't give myself grace. Give yourself grace. Don't allow people to keep you in a prison. Give yourself grace. Don't allow what you may think is being said about you because of what people think they know, because they really don't know, to keep you in a space of not moving forward. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. Understand that we all have a story. We all have been through something. Although your story may look different than mine, we have a story. You have a story. And guess what? The ending can be so different. The ending can be how we set it to be if we just change our mindset and give yourself some grace. Grace to move on. Grace to sustain to stand in the storm. Grace to get up again. Grace to deny that you are grace to accept that you are somebody no matter what they have said that you won't nobody. Grace to understand that you can further your education. Grace to understand that you can have that job. Grace to understand that you can be part of a circle that's for you. Grace to understand that your ladder will be better. Grace to understand that you are victorious in all things. Although you might have lost some battles. Although it may seem weary right now. Although you have wept and you have cried. And you're wondering why me? Why this, that, and the other? I know I did. I know I couldn't. I know this, that, and the other. Listen, give yourself some grace. Because guess what? You are more than a conqueror. Guess what? No matter what has happened, somebody else needs to hear your story in due time. And guess what else? The same grace that you give other individuals, you need to give to yourself. And stop hiding behind the wall. Stop hiding behind the curtains. Stop hiding behind because you don't want nobody to see or to know. Stop hiding behind it and give yourself that same grace. They're going to talk regardless, whether if you're doing good and whether if you're doing bad. They're going to talk. The thing about what I realize is if people are doing bad, if it's drama-fied, if a lot of stuff is going on, they'll talk about that all day long. Messy people, that's what I call them. Messy. They don't have a life of their own. That's all they like to entertain is drama, drama, drama. They're always in drama. They always point out somebody else's things. They always engage in this, that, and the other. And guess what? They will remain stagnant. They will remain in the same place. And what they think is blessings and what they think that is going on, it won't be. They will have a bag with holes in it. Because one thing is for certain, no one is better than the next. I don't care how much money they have or you think they have. I don't care how much they smiling, because when they get behind closed doors, sometimes it's a whole nother different thing. So many people are battling, but they're faking the funk. But once they understand to give themselves grace because of some of the things, some of the actions, some of the ways of the past, it won't mama fault. It won't daddy fault. Some people 40, 50, 60 years old still blaming others. That's why last week when I just talked about learn versus unlearn, there was definitely a meaning to that. If you didn't see that last week, go and see it, because we got to unlearn bad behaviors and bad ways that sometimes we have. Some of us still have them, or that we used to have, and teach and learn and engage in the right behaviors. But you give yourself some grace. You're not going to be able to please everybody. They're going to still run your name in the ground. It don't matter. But as long as what you're doing is unto the Lord, and as long as what you're doing is not to please other people, and as long as what you're doing is to help others, because that's what we're supposed to do, and let them talk, you're doing something right. Don't worry about them, but give yourself grace. And whenever you're going through, don't always say, this because what I did, this because what I did. That's not always the case. Give yourself some grace and stop being a prisoner up there. As I said, I just came by to drop a few words of wisdom in your ear to help you to understand. Don't be fearful. I bind up that spirit of fear. But I loose having the spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. Sound to make appropriate decisions. Sound to be at peace and to move accordingly. Sound mind, a peaceful mind to forgive yourself and to love you. Give yourself some grace so that you can be able to move on to your next, so that you can walk into your purpose. And if you didn't know, I am the Purpose Pusher Coach. I love assisting and helping to push my clients into their next, into their purpose, help them find out who they are. How did they get there? Because it's about solutions, and it's always a solution to problems. Believe me when I tell you. If people are bringing you a problem, they need to bring you some solutions as well. So I'm telling you on this evening to give yourself some grace, no matter what it looks like, no matter what you've been going through, no matter what you did, give yourself some grace. And I promise you, it'll get better, better, and more better. I pray the blessings be bestowed upon you and your family. Do me a favor and make sure you share this with someone. It's time that we join together and ensure that we together are able to propel and move to our next. It's not about you three and not me. It's not about you four no more, or us four no more, however you want to look at it. It's about all of us. I thank you for tuning in to Wisdom Wednesday. And again, I pray blessings be upon you. I speak healing. Be safe. Take care of yourself. Until next time on Wisdom Wednesday that we meet again. But until then, remember to give yourself grace. And I will see you soon.